All right, that audio is synced up, so we're ready to go. One of the things that I do each year is in Capture One, I have this folder per year. So I just made the 2021 folder, which I'm quite happy about. I think everyone is quite happy that 2020 is finally over. But it was also a great opportunity to dive into my 2020 archive and just make a selection of a couple of pictures that I would like to go over with you guys and show you guys. See what I like, what I don't like about the pictures, and take them a bit as a bridge towards 2021 and see how I can further evolve this YouTube channel and also try to explore other areas of photography to keep things fresh and interesting. So without further ado, let's jump into the first image. The first image is a shot of a classic car, something that is not too common in Belgium. So especially where I live, it's not. I don't often have the opportunity to spot cars like this. So I saw this one during a run, and I just immediately went home, grabbed my camera, went back, and took a couple of frames of this cool Lincoln car. I really like the way it was parked, so it's perfectly framed by the hedge behind it, and the green and the cream color of the car itself perfectly complement each other. I also like the soft lighting, so it was just a bit before sunset, so you see this nice light on the building on the right and also catching in the trees. I do regret a bit the electrical box in the front. That's a bit of a stain on the image. If I could have chosen, then of course the car on the right on the driveway there, that would be nice. Would have been nice if that wasn't there as well, but okay. As a bridge to 2021, I recently saw a couple of videos by Brian Burks, who also shoots vintage cars on medium format. And one of the things that he does that I find particularly cool is he tries to get the owners of the cars involved as well. So he often rings the door and asks them if they are interested in having their portraits taken together with the car, which they often do. And the results are, in my opinion, always very, very nice. And it really adds to the story and the character of these types of subjects. So that's something that I really want to test out and try in 2021. All right, next up. This is a picture of my son, who was born in December 2019. So 2020 was a very transitional year for everyone in my family. And I took it upon myself to try and grab as many personal moments, really highlighting the concept of documenting your own life. And I think this picture is a nice example of that. This was a playful moment between mother and son, and I just took my camera for a couple of images, not to break the moment, and turn it into some type of photo shoot. And I think I really like this picture, especially the expression in his eyes and the catchlight that is visible in his eyes. I think it's a very genuine moment that holds a lot of emotion. It really, it's one of the pictures that I really go back to often from 2020. Lighting wise, this one is shot with window light, so the opposite window really flooded the living room. So it was a very nice way of how the light came together with the moment itself. Next up, this was taken during one of the COVID walks. So if you're confined or in lockdown, you often don't have the opportunity to go far away and shoot very different subjects. So stayed in the vicinity for this one. Really like how the light was catching on the yellow in the window. I think it really adds that pop to the picture, and it also color-wise complements nicely with the red bricks and the green of the plants. So always also really like color-wise this picture a lot. This picture is also very close to where I live. I live in the vicinity of a canal that connects to the port of Antwerp. So there are a lot of ships passing by, but there's also a lot of industrial activity alongside the canal. And I took this picture during a bike ride. I just really loved how the setting sun was illuminating this scene. And there are a couple of elements that I would like to highlight as well. Really much like the symmetry of the vertical line. So you have the vertical line of the factory itself, and then on the left and the right you have these electric towers that are really, really cool. I like the moon perfectly framed by the passing clouds. Adds a very nice detail to the image. And overall the color, so predominantly green in the factory and in the greenery in the foreground. And speaking of the foreground, I also really like the way that the foreground is very wild. It's grass growing in a dynamic way, but that really balances or adds some tension with the industrial background of the factory and the piles of sand and other raw material that is being displayed here. So I really like the tension there. And looking towards 2021, I would like to do some type of project with all the industrial buildings alongside the canal and within the port of Antwerp. I think that holds a lot of potential for a nice collection or a nice set of images, maybe even a zine. So stay tuned for that one. This picture is taken in Italy. So even in these COVID days, I had the opportunity during summer to go to Lake Como for a couple of weeks. This particular picture was shot on the terrace of a gelato store. So we were enjoying our gelato. And I noticed this elderly gentleman looking out into the distance, and I just really liked the color and the overall mood and setting of this image. Technically it's not perfect. If I could have chosen the lighting on his face, it's a bit too much in the shadow, and the focus is also more on the watch than on the face itself. But there are a lot of elements in this picture that I still really, really like in this image. Next image is also, I think this is my favorite picture from the Lake Como trip in general. It really tells the story of what Lake Como is all about, in my opinion. So you have the lake, which is obvious. You have the mountains around, which is really one of the main draws of the region itself. So you have this gorgeous lake surrounded by majestic mountains. It's a place of high society as well. You have a lot of very nice buildings. There are a lot of very famous villas alongside the lake's shore. And you have places like this one where people go in and soak in the sun and just enjoy life in general. But what I really like in this picture is the dynamic of the people in the foreground. So you have the woman with the sun hat and the guy with the swimming stroke. That adds a lot of dynamic to the picture. And it's just an overall well-composed image, really giving off that vacation feel or that vacation vibe, something that I'm really looking forward to in 2021, and hope that we can do much more of these type of trips and hopefully go back to some type of normal life in a sense. This image was also during one of the walks. This is a small woodland, 10-minute drive away from where I live. Was one of the final moments that we had a bit of nice weather and were able to see the autumnal colors. So I particularly like the yellow leaves of the birch trees in the center of the frame. I also used a very shallow depth of field, which makes the foreground a bit soft, but gives it that nice painterly texture. And I think for this type of image, it doesn't have to be overly sharp, but if it gives that impressionist feeling, it's something that I really enjoy, especially with this picture. I really like how the colors turned out on this one. Also, again, a personal moment, teaching our son to brush his teeth with all the playful moments that go alongside that. I went for a black and white picture for this one because I really wanted to focus on the emotion of their faces, so really the laughing and their expression. So color would just distract, and of course the lighting conditions weren't perfect. There was a bit of mixed lighting, so color-wise it wasn't easy to grade as well. But I think in black and white this image really comes into its own. And also my girlfriend was wearing a dark sweater, so that always looks very nice and really highlights her face even more because of the large contrast between the skin tone and the black of the dark of the sweater. All right, the final image. This is an image from Belgium. So this was shot in December, where we went on a final hike with a couple of friends. One of the things with COVID was the fact that we reappreciated what Belgium had to offer. And this particular trip was quite fun. So as you can see in the picture, we had this waterfall where my girlfriend and a buddy of mine is in the frame, really adding some scale to the image. So Belgium isn't a large country. We don't have big mountains, but this was a pretty impressive sight. And we also did some type of river crossing or river fording. So went barefoot and knee deep into a stream to cross it. So all in all, it was a very fun day. And also looking forward to exploring more parts of Belgium and abroad, hopefully, to get more adventure pictures like this as well. So yeah, this was a bit what I wanted to talk to you guys about. I hope you liked the pictures, maybe drew some inspiration from them. And as main takeaway, I would just say, I would encourage you to document your own life and go for the small moments. Don't always go for the epic shots. It's often the small moments that are personal and dear to you that will hold the most value. And in the process, you will definitely evolve. And I would just say for 2021, happy shooting and see you in the next one.